You know, someone once told me that I look like Freddy Fazbear. I hope that this person is dead. Mac Cheese the host, and tonight we're reviewing Five Nights at Freddy's. The movie, not the game. Five Nights at Freddy's generally follows the same kind of storyline from its source material. There are these animatronics and a mascot restaurant that try to kill people. While it does follow the general background of the games, it does ultimately divert from its source material, so it's not really a one-on-one recreation. Anyways, you got this unemployed guy named Mike Schmidt, seen from the games of course, who's got a little trouble keeping a job. He's in a custody battle to be the rightful guardian of his younger sister, Abby, because this other person, Aunt Jane, wants guardianship to get those sweet monthly payments. In order to convince the social workers that he's fit to take care of Abby, Mike gets off his unemployed ass and reluctantly takes a job at a now-defunct Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. But as he works there, a bunch of weird stuff begins to happen. Weird noises, weird stuff getting into his dreams as he sleeps on the job, and of course the animatronics coming to life to try and kill him. As the movie goes on, the rabbit hole of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is delved into, and you learn just what the restaurant is hiding. The movie is, overall, pretty forgettable. For a movie mostly focused on its story, there's just not a lot to talk about. One would struggle to remember any specific scenes from this 2-hour-long movie because nothing interesting really happens. It doesn't use the unique world of Five Nights at Freddy's to create a truly intriguing story, rather it's mostly about interpersonal drama and relationships and custodial disputes. Because that's why I came to watch a Five Nights at Freddy's flick. The animatronics themselves kind of feel like window dressing. I mean, I really like to see them, they look pretty good. Unfortunately, they aren't really present for a lot of the film, and even when they are, they don't really do anything cool. And that would probably be the biggest problem with the film. Five Nights at Freddy's suffers from a lack of anything cool. There's no excitement, no action, no intrigue. It's mostly just people talking. You're sitting there waiting for things to really ramp up, and they really don't. And for a horror movie, the movie's not really scary. The few times it tries, it mostly just throws a bunch of tired horror movie tropes at you. Like a character sees an animatronic, looks away, but when he looks back at it, it's suddenly gone. Or they're walking down a hallway, but they walk past the giant hulking robot in a door without noticing it. It doesn't work because we've seen this crap before, and maybe it was frightening at one point in time, but times change, and you need to try and adapt. Clearly, they didn't. I didn't really like the jump scares in the movie either, of which there's like 2. Except it's just a bobblehead, so it doesn't really matter. I get that the movie thinks it's being funny, but fake jump scares will always be lame no matter the context. It's a stupid thing for really any movie to have. They don't add anything to the experience, it's purely just there to screw with the audience, which is more insulting than anything else. Oh, we got you, you jumped, you got scared, oh! Yeah, you really got me. You did something that is, in general, startling, and I got startled. Bravo, you frickin' hack. How about instead of just throwing jump scares at the audience, you actually build the tension and dread that makes them work so well. You know, like the source material that you're adapting it from. The child acting is pretty shoddy, in my opinion. Mike Schmidt's daughter, you know, Abby, is alright, I guess, but there are these other 5 kids that are involved in the film, and their performance is a little... I'm not sure if it's necessarily that their acting is bad, rather, the scenes they're involved in are just stupid. There's this subplot in the movie where Mike has these weird little dreams, and in them you have these kids that are just kind of standing. And I'm pretty sure that the movie thinks it's being all creepy and unnerving with these scenes, but it's not. Ooh, kids standing in an organized formation. Shiver me timbers. What do you want me to do? Call Child Protective Services? Like, give me a break. There's this scene where the kids are attacking Mike Schmidt in a dream. They're coming at him from all directions and swiping and scratching at him. And it's just so poorly shot that it's frankly laughable. Equally laughable is the level of violence in this movie, which is so tame that it's frankly comical. To be fair, the movie's PG-13, and I think the people behind it knew that the audience was mostly gonna be kids, so it makes sense that they wouldn't have a gore fest over here, but it really feels like the movie's copping out at times. There's this scene where some people break into the pizzeria after Mike's shift to munt the place, but then the animatronics spring to life and just completely massacre everyone. I mean, they just get absolutely mauled. Now that should be cool, that should be fun, but it's not. People rarely die in the movie, but when they do, it's not even really shown, just implied. Just when someone's about to get it, the movie pans away at the last second. There's a scene where someone's fleeing from the animatronics and locks themselves in a janitor's closet, but unbeknownst to them, an animatronic is in there, waiting to ambush him. But you don't see what happens to the guy. Right as he's getting completely wrecked, it cuts to the outside of the door as you see his bloodied hand slide down the glass. Yawn. They dedicate an entire section of the movie to basically being little more than a fun little slasher moment. But you don't actually see anyone getting slashed. That's not fun, and what culminates is nothing. You're not watching something that's fun, you're not watching something that's necessarily an important part of the movie, you're watching nothing. I mean, God, the most gruesome part of this movie, and spoilers for anyone who doesn't know who William Afton is, if you really care. You know how the purple guy, aka William Afton, gets killed by climbing into an animatronic suit and accidentally triggering the spring lock systems? That's something that actually happens in the movie. And in theory, that should be awesome to see. No, it should be gruesome, gory, right? But they mucked that one up too. Instead, it's a really lame and tame scene that feels like it came straight out of that SNL skit. What you say? What you say? If I liked anything about the movie, again, the animatronics look good, and the set design for the actual restaurant itself is actually good. It looks like a genuine abandoned arcade, and I think it's cool that they managed to create that feeling. And I did like the YouTuber cameos that they slipped in there. They don't really affect the quality of the movie for better or for worse, but it's still a nice way to pay homage to where the franchise first started. And they don't feel intrusive, like in some movies. Yeah, that's basically it. I don't know what went wrong with Five Nights at Freddy's, but I can take a guess. And it really sucks. It's a movie that could have had potential. There's a lot that could have been done. There's a few avenues that they could have chosen to make a movie that truly stands out. But they didn't do that, and frankly, it's obvious that they didn't even try. Instead, it's a 2-hour movie that isn't scary, isn't fun, isn't interesting, and isn't particularly memorable. I give Five Nights at Freddy's a 3.5 out of 10. As far as recommendations go, I think the nicest thing I can say about this movie is that I can see why someone who likes Five Nights at Freddy's, likes the franchise, likes the games, would leave this movie feeling relatively satisfied. If nothing else, just for the novelty of seeing these characters come to life on the big screen. Other than that, it's a pretty disappointing adaptation, and if you're looking for a good horror movie, you'd do well to look elsewhere. You know, I've also been told that I look like a serial killer, so I don't know, maybe I'm the man.